Hello and welcome to everyone watching the Written in Melanin channel. Wherever this day may have found you, I am glad that you're here. I'm here with Merrick Tull-Johnson today. He is the author of Soiled Grounds and the Lost City series. We will be talking mainly about his book, Soiled Grounds, and getting to know him as an author. Before we get started, I wanted to let you guys know to click the subscribe button to the channel if you haven't already, and warn you that this conversation may contain light spoilers for Soiled Grounds, so proceed with caution. Okay, that took a little bit to get through, but I am caffeinated, probably too caffeinated, because I can't talk and I'm talking super fast, so I'm sorry. But
carry on. I've been there before.
Okay, so the first thing that I really wanted to ask you, because I saw that you are very young, which is for me is rare because most of the people I talk to are older than me. You're 22, correct?
23.
23. Okay, yeah. So you had a birthday since the last time we talked. Just out of curiosity, when is your birthday?
December 13th.
Oh, so you just had a birthday. Happy birthday, sir.
2 months late, but that's all right.
Yeah, but it's there.
Thank you.
Okay, so how long have you been a writer?
For forever, to be honest, but I got serious about it come high school, and then, fun fact, I finished The Lost City in community college, but it was more on the shorter side thing, and then I made the second one, and so I was like, I'm just gonna put them together. Then I just went from there. And then that was my first book. And then that was freshman year, community college. So that was very, very recent.
Okay. So The Lost City is actually your first book.
Yeah.
But Soiled Grounds is already out.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to explain how that happened?
Well, since I first started writing, I was very, very excited because I finished my first book. And so I published it being young and excited, and I didn't realize that there were some things I had to fix, so I took it down, and then from there it was Soiled Grounds that became my official book, my official release, because I took my time and I went through and I edited that, and then I took down Lloyd. So I'm turning into you. I took down The Lost City, so I'm just gonna go through that again when I have the time, or when I'm done editing Siege, then just put it back up there, because that book is honestly my baby. That's my favorite one. So that's gonna be back up pretty soon.
Okay, looking forward to it. Since it wasn't up, I wasn't able to read the description. Can you tell me a little bit what it's about?
Oh yeah, I'm turning into you again.
Look, it's not me. It's not contagious, I swear.
It pretty is. So The Lost City, that's about a detective and a vigilante teaming up to find a girl that's been kidnapped. The detective, he's in it because that's his girlfriend's sister, and the vigilante's because he fell in love with her at some point, and so they set out to look for her, and they run into each other. And interesting thing about it is I have other different characters too, but they're not as main as the vigilante and the detective, and it's an intertwining story, so everybody meets everybody at some point. They all deal with each other's energies and all that. They have the little problems with each other, so that's one of my favorites, because I love how everything is just so together. Everything is just intertwining. Then the second one, I'm sure you're about to ask me about that too. That's about the remaining characters trying to stay alive and avoid obstacles that gets thrown their way, because everybody's trying to lay low now. And that's what those two are about.
Okay. It sounds like a actually really complex story, because I had the chance to actually read a little bit of Soiled Grounds. I didn't get to finish it because life, but I'm about a quarter of the way through it, and it's just like there's so much to the story, and I'm like, okay, so what's coming next? I was reading about Luther, and for those of you watching this, Luther is the main character in Soiled Grounds. He is a police officer, and he just joined the force, and almost as soon as he gets in, crazy stuff starts happening.
That's how I write. I like doing that.
So the question then becomes, it's like, how do you come up with the complexities of the stories? Like, what is your writing process like?
I do not know. I just come up with it, to be honest. I think that noir, since that's the type of writer that I am, how I come up with it, I just do it, because it's like you're basically like fantasy. You're basically building a world. So I guess my world is very complex and dark. That's how I did it. But I don't really have a process to it. I just come up with it. But I will say that Soil Grounds, I outlined that. So I guess I could say that's one of the processes that I had, was outlining it. But my first two Lost City series, I didn't outline that, and it's still complex the same way, because I know what you're talking about. A lot of stuff happens in there. A lot of things happen between characters. But I guess that's my thought process. I want to make it very complex. I want to add all those twists and turns, because that's what mystery and noir is. There's a lot of twists and turns in it. And if there's no twists and turns, what is mystery? What are you doing? But I do enjoy torturing people. That is also part of my process, is torturing people a lot.
Just for clarification, he's talking about book people, not like regular people. Just want to throw that disclaimer out there. So you said that you outlined Soiled Grounds, but you haven't outlined the other ones. So I guess by default, that kind of makes you a pantser versus a plotter.
Hey, take it easy. But yes, my recent Soiled Grounds, Siege, the one I'm doing now, that was outlined. I'm not proud of it, because I don't like outlining, because it spoils the fun for me, but I outlined it. So yes, I do consider myself as one of those. Proudly.
Well then, I'm glad you're proud of it. No point in hiding it. You got to own up to it.
Own it.
So when you are, whether you're outlining or whether you're just like sitting down and getting into like the heart of the story and just going at it, like what generally comes to you first? Is it the character, or like the plot line of the story, or is it like a title or a specific scene? Like what pops into your head first that gets you going?
Plot line, then characters. Well, that's a hard one. I think a mix between plot line and characters. I think characters comes to one of the things that comes to mind, because with the genre that I'm writing, you have to. With the noir genre, it's like centralized around the character and the setting at the same time. So like in the plot too, they all go together. Like so, it's just whatever comes to mind first. But generally, the plot comes to mind, and then when I'm writing, that's when I come up with the characters.
Okay. And I noticed it's so like, again, I'm only a quarter of the way through it, so like don't spoil it for me. But I know that Luther is the main character, and then he has Vanessa and what do I want to call this man? Baxter. Is it Baxter?
Yeah.
Yeah. And side note, when I was like, is it Baxter? I'm like, nah, that's from a cartoon. Nah, it is Baxter. I got it. Okay. But so do you like try to keep your characters, I guess, centralized, or are you one of those people where later on you'll have like a larger cast of characters introduced?
That's like the Lost City. I think Soiled Grounds is one of the ones where I keep it strictly on a character, but in the Lost City series, there's a bunch of characters in it, and that's what I like doing. I like adding a lot of characters. You really got to keep up with a lot of characters in it. And that's what I like to do. I like to add like a bunch. Like the Lost City, there's like 4, 5 of them, a bunch.
Okay, note to self to prepare for that. Okay, and like as far as the characters, I know that you were talking about how in the noir genre you have to focus specifically on the character and the setting. So what exactly was it that attracted you to the noir/thriller genre?
I always wanted to write mystery. I don't know why. It was just clawing at me. But I didn't know how to write it. And I made some attempts to write it. I was like, this isn't hitting the way it should be. But I was watching Sin City one day. I don't know if you heard of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I was watching it. And then I was just like, this is how I'm going to do it. Because with the Sin City, it's basically what led me to writing The Lost City, because with that intertwining story and all that. So I guess that was part of it, because I didn't know how to start it. Like, I went through one of those moments where I was like, I don't know how the hell to write this. How should I write this? Then I sat down and I watched the movie. It's just, I'm gonna do it just like this. And noir, I did my research, and it was one of the movies that popped up under noir. And I like how dark it is. I like how the setting fuels the character. I like all that stuff. I don't know why. I think I need to seek help, but
I mean, I can't speak on that. Like you would know better than I do. But it's all creative work, and creative work comes from someplace, whether it's bright and fluffy like rom-coms or, darker thriller themes. I like to think that there aren't a bunch of writers out here going around, being serial killers, even though they write about it. But, to each their own, But so would you say that movies inspired you to start writing more so than like, I don't want to say like books, more so than books, but like, I know that you mentioned movies in particular that you saw that made you want to start writing it yourself, and which kind of led to the inspiration of The Lost City. So are there any like other authors or books that you read and you were just like, I want to do this?
Well, I
want to be like them.
Say a specific author gave me inspiration or whatever. I just think I was just one of those people that were always writing and just got serious about it, because I don't know, there was just one book, The Hidden Empire, that hit me because the description was crazy. Well, it was a sci-fi, so it had to be very descriptive. But I guess that's what led to me making my works very descriptive, with using a lot of imagery, but having a specific, thing that made me want to sit down and stress myself out for a few years. I just wanted to do that for my entire life, basically. I guess that's how that went.
Gotcha. So basically you knew from day one that you wanted to be a writer.
Yeah, I didn't know from day one, but come community college, come high school, just like, I guess I gotta turn this into something now.
It's like the talent is here, it's like the desire is here. I guess I should do something
right,
with it.
Right. It's just like, okay. I'm gonna roll with it.
Hey, that works. I mean, if you have a talent, like, by all means, share it with the world. Don't keep it to yourself. But moving on, I do want to know more about Siege, because you mentioned it briefly, and you talked about The Lost City, and we've talked a little bit about Soiled Grounds. So, like, is there anything that you can tell me about Siege?
Siege, that's baby number 2. Because Siege was very special to me in this sort of way, because I was always writing mystery, and so I wanted to try to expand or grow my creativity and write something new. And I went towards mystery, where you had to build your own world and all that stuff. But Siege is a 2-part novel. The first part, it's about all right, let's do this. Let's do this. Siege is about 2 characters, right? And they're in the army. And I did a little thing. I made the part 1, what caused the conflict, related to the Native Americans and what the U.S. did to them. And so there was just this big battle, big long feud between where the main characters stay and the real inhabitants, where they took the land from them. And so the king, one day, he says he wants to give it back. And the king's brother, he doesn't agree with that, and he kills them, and he frames the two soldiers because they were eating dinner with them. And so they run away later to find out from the help of a wizard that the brother wants to bring back evil. He wants to bring evil back to the realm and make it evil ruling over again because he wants some of that power too. And so the two main characters, they build a team, but they come back and they win it back over. And then part two was just one of the main characters. He's a king now, and he's dealing with everything political. And then he's dealing with the rival of the Black Barbarian. And the Black Barbarian, he hears about what he did, hears about what the main character did in part one, and he comes through. He's like, I want to challenge you. But a challenge to him is like a fight to the death. And then there's that, and then there's the rival of the Dark Lord, and him and the Barbarian team up together, just try and bring back evil to the world and kill all the good people. There will be a sequel.
Why are you shushing? This is going on the internet, homie.
I can't disclose too many information.
Well, honestly, that sounds interesting. But what I noticed is that I know that before this, you mentioned briefly that you were like doing a foray into fantasy. So is just to confirm, like this is your fantasy book, like
yeah, that's it.
Because you said wizards, and I was like, oh snap, wizard.
It's up there. You want to know? Yes, full-fledged fantasy in here.
Okay, so like, are you merging like noir thriller with fantasy, or are you just like stepping into fantasy completely?
Strictly fantasy. Yeah. I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say it's strictly because I veered off and now I'm writing a horror, but I'm gonna go back to fantasy for the sequel, which will be based on the characters. Well, the previous main character's daughter, if anybody was wondering. But yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like you got it all planned out. Like, you know, this is coming and this is coming and this is coming. So, like, are there release dates for any of these yet?
No, ma'am. I just dropped heat after heat. That's all.
Okay, so since you are like writing in multiple genres, like noir, thriller, fantasy, horror, like I have several questions related to that. First, it being like, are you going to mix in like some comedy and romance into that to like lighten it up, or is it going to be like strict? Why are you laughing?
Who?
Okay, I'm gonna say that as a no, like a hard no. I was just like, I had to ask. These are the things that people want to know, you know?
No,
like
nothing like it. You better come back to fantasy if you want to talk about life.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So that being said, with the switching of genres, like what was the most challenging aspect of it? Like, did you have to change your mindset to tackle one versus the other?
That was one of the biggest things, was my mindset. And just trying to just deal with the switching point of views. Because I went from writing first person to doing third person, and I haven't wrote third person in ages. So that, what you stated, was one of my problems. The switching point of view and just everything in general, because it was they were a fresh genre for me. But the horror wasn't as bad because I mixed in a little bit of noir in it, not too much, just like a sprinkle. Just like the first person view and just the pessimistic kind of things, I just sprinkled a little bit in there. But the fantasy was my biggest one. But I'm glad I got through it, because that was like a next step into my craft and into my creativity and all that. So I'm kind of glad I fought through it. But yeah, it was very challenging. The fantasy one was very challenging.
Okay. Can you share like some of the ways that you got through the switchings of genre?
Research was my biggest one. And just writing. I just took it a day at a time, because I think research helped me a lot. And I kind of world built too. And I just basically got myself in the mindset of a fantasy writer, if that makes sense.
It does. It definitely does, because it's like how you think about the characters in the world is going to be different when you're trying to build a world completely from scratch with wizards and kings and realms and things like that. That's going to be a different thought process than, a thriller, which for the most part is based in what we already know in our world, even if there are changes. Because I noticed, like in Soiled Grounds, one of the biggest things was they have really advanced AI technology, and it's like, no, we don't have robots walking around that look like humans, but it's still based on like human world tactics, like the police force and ambulances and cars and things like that.
Yeah, I didn't want to make it too futuristic. I wanted to make it like on the cusp. So you might get the fancy car, you might get like a robot or two, but those are and all that stuff. I just wanted to put it on the cusp. I didn't want it to be too advanced. That's where I was at.
Yeah, I think it's a good balance because, again, from the part that I've read, it was very like I said, I could imagine it easily because Baxter, he is a robot, but he's also his partner. So it's like, because of the way that you describe him, like how he is very human-like and he has emotions and things like that, it's like, yeah, he's a robot, but he's also a central character to Luther. Mm-hmm. So I like that aspect of it. And I think you did that part well.
I tried my best.
It worked. It definitely worked. And the other thing that I really wanted to know was Soiled Grounds is a standalone, whereas the other two books you said are planning to be series. Yep. So like, one, how did you come to that decision? And two, like, how does that change how you write the story?
Well, I do this little thing. I have a major project, and then I release something like Soiled Grounds, which is something to like keep people reading on once they finish the major thing. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I just like giving EPs, with something like to just keep people, because I know like once you finish the book, you're like, what am I supposed to do now? And so I just make something shorter, but like, and to answer your question, I just make it more impactful. Because since you're reading it, I would spoil it. I would spoil it so hard for you. Because you're gonna find out how I make it impactful. But yeah, how I do that, I just make the major one, then I make a shorter one. I would call it my EPs. And then, but with the EPs, they might be more impactful. The ending might hit harder, like the Soiled Grounds ending, and everything that happens with Soiled Grounds. And then that's why I just do my standalones. I just make them really, really impactful. It's gonna mess you, and it'll hurt at the end. It's gonna hurt at the end. I'll tell you that. If you go to the end, it's gonna hurt.
Well, thanks for the warning.
It's gonna hurt, like in the middle too, with Luther and Baxter and Vanessa. But hey.
Jeez. Okay. Now, low-key, I'm like, do I need this kind of emotional pain today? Like,
probably.
Do I really?
Probably, yeah.
It's a Tuesday. I got to make it through the rest of the week.
Nope, we don't do that with my words.
Well, then, I will be mentally preparing myself for that later on today. But, so, like, with all these genres that you write, do you have, like, a favorite? Like, do you prefer one of them over the other?
Do I prefer one of them over the other? I definitely prefer noir. Because I get to be dark. I get to, like, kill characters and not feel bad about it. Like, I just killed your favorite character for fun. Deal with
it. That's horrible. I want you to know that. Like, there are literally people, authors and readers who cry over killing their characters, and you're just like, nope, I do it for fun.
Bye. Gotta keep the plot going. Bye. Like I will literally kill off a character just to play with other characters, just to like see where I could go off with other characters. Like purposely kill it just for fun. Like Lost City, yep, that's one of them. That's one of the big ones. A lot of characters.
Well, folks, you heard him. Proceed with caution. If you pick up a book, like, they're gonna die.
They gonna die.
So,
Like die. There's no surprise. There's no The Walking Dead. Glenn comes back. No.
well, you heard him say it. Like, I don't know what else to say about that. Like, just proceed with caution when you pick up the book. Like, pick who you get attached to very carefully, because they may not make it to the end.
They probably died like the middle.
All right, last question that I have for you. And this is like my favorite question. I ask literally every author that I talk to this. What writing advice would you give to a younger version of yourself if you could?
Oh man. For myself, I wouldn't say for myself. I would give it to others because I like to share my knowledge. But I guess advice, I would say just stay determined, stay disciplined. Perseverance goes a long way. Just believe in yourself, because it's art in general, you can get very, very self-doubting on yourself. And if you don't get the results you want, you might get down on yourself. All I gotta say is others and other people in the creative craft, whatever they do, is just stay disciplined and stay determined, because you're gonna see the results if you keep pushing. And that's one of the things that keep me pushing, because I constantly see the results that comes from out of what I do. Either I do something I don't do. Oh, there goes another one. Get out of your comfort zone. That's gonna kill you. That's my TED Talk.
Well, there you have it, folks. So to recap this entire conversation, I was here today with Merrick Tull-Johnson. He is the author of Soiled Grounds, which is available for purchase on Amazon now. He is also the author of the upcoming book Siege, as well as the upcoming Lost City series. You can follow him on Twitter at M as in Merrick, T as in Tull, J as in Johnson, Tull, Tull, and on Instagram at Merrick's Books. I'll leave links to everything below, along with where you can purchase my book, Keeping Promises, and follow me, C.E. Benson, and my company, Written in Melanin Publishing, on social media. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please tap the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, I hope your days are lovely and your books are interesting. Bye!